dum, 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 dum. This music is not copyright. Rain stopped, which is good, but it's cold. Very cold. Interesting day today. Pulled out my frozen leek bacon and potato soup. I made that about 3 weeks ago, I think. Had that for dinner. Yum. That's delicious. Bit of mist around tonight. See the spooky mist? It's just all the rain we had, cold air. G'day, Blue. Interesting day today, Blue. I caught the tail end of a couple of hangouts. And it was like, apparently one guy, I call him Macaulay Culkin, you know the guy Home Alone, in his van. Apparently his father hasn't signed the adoption papers and cut his allowance off. And then apparently today his surrogate mother is thinking about no longer breastfeeding him. If I got confused, Blue, I'm sure you can let me know. That would be my take on it. Macaulay Culkin, all alone in the van. Who would have seen that coming? Fancy burning more bridges. Well, it's like watching the man fall off a cliff for the last 4 years in slow motion, frame by frame. But falling nonetheless. So what's things like in Texas? Nice and warm by now, I imagine. You had any nasty storms go through there? Got a couple of friends in Texas. I'm caught up with them for a while, but this time of the year can be a bit tricky. Maybe you had a hailstorm 2 years ago. Oh, raindrops. Yeah, you're about the only place that's similar to us when you get a week or two of hot weather in a row. The rest of the US doesn't seem to get that, but you do in Texas. We definitely get months of it here. But not like a cold beer at the end of the day. I can soothe some of the troubles of a hot, sweaty day's work. And I haven't heard, the question I was going to ask you when I was going to catch up with you, Blue, is I haven't heard from Tony Mullins 5 or 6 months. I don't know whether you've heard any more or any less. Jeff says it might be not good news. Another guy we know, Luther, says it might not be good news. Don't know. I wish him well if he's still there, but he wasn't well when I spoke to him probably, yeah, a good 5 months ago, maybe 6 months ago. He'd had trouble for a while. He was buying and selling stuff here, there and everywhere. I think the wife's making a cuppa. I'm not sure. I hope so. Could do with the cuppa about now. 5 more days of soup. ISM. What's that? Is that code for let's go to the bedroom? I'm not sure. Let me know. I'll soon close this hangout down. I think it was a typo. Yeah. Yeah, a mate of mine works up and down between Texas and, what's that state just north of you? He works for an installation company to do with electronics, and he goes up and down He says that's about the hottest part of Texas, the top bit and the bottom bit of the other state, whatever that is. I can't remember. So, what do you have, big fans going in the workshop, or have you actually got air conditioning? It'd be nice to have air conditioning while you're working on a car. Yeah, no, Jeff doesn't know much more than what I've told you. Just no contact for about the last 5 or 6 months. Be nice to have air conditioner in your workshop though. Tell me you got an air conditioner. Mind you, the concrete floor can be nice and cool until about lunchtime. Yeah, you'd need that, particularly if you're under your back under a vehicle. You do that for a living. I used to do it for fun. And after a while it wasn't much fun. Ripping gearboxes out, dropping rear ends, putting new diffs in, 100+ degree heat. In my case on the sand, not good. It's trying to rain. It's tick-a-tacking on the roof.
You're gonna have to move forward.
Here comes the boss with a cuppa. Do you want to move the table forward?
Well,
Righto, because it drips.
it starts to drip pretty quick.
Righto. I'll move my plastic chair into the position. Got my gloves ready.
Sorry,
I just saw it.
move that way a little bit.
There we go. This is a woman. This is
Shut
outside.
up. I
Steve, this
know.
is outside. She wants to move it 3 inches.
Yeah, because it'll start to drip here. Hey,
I'm not going to
hello.
move until she says maybe a little bit
Okay,
further back a
you're
bit.
fine.
Do you want it back a bit?
No.
Cheers anyway. Time for a cuppa. It'll be good shortly. It's a nice old cottage. Well built 70 years ago. But the additions are good. Well, they will be. We're just finalising things like bathroom vanities, shower heads, colour of tiles. I don't really care. She'll be doing the colours. My stuff is outside. Garden, pool, workshop, etc. It'll be another, I reckon around Christmas we'll be pretty close to saying she's done. But the old cottage is nice. That's why we didn't knock it down. I mean, the block's so big we could have beat, hello Kathy, we could have split it in half and built two houses, but I want a backyard. So, and the engineer said, no, the old house is good. So we kept it. So we're up to in selecting stuff. You're going to get their toilets for the house?
The toilets, what they've got there,
Yeah.
just go with that. Shower stuff from Bunnings.
Yeah.
It's just basically the tiles. We have to go
Oh, and lighting.
and cover with the
Well, yeah, I've got a couple of things I want to change.
like what?
Well, they haven't put a power point out on the patio.
Yes,
porch.
they have.
No, it's a light switch.
There's also a PowerPoint there.
I don't want it where it is. I want it near the
Oh
end.
yeah, they said to do that. They said
Yeah, I'm going to move it down the end.
that's what they said.
Because I can't have a fridge and other things down there. I might even get them to put a double outside power so we can run a big fan up on the corner.
Where they were going, the PowerPoint where they put that one can stay. Have another one put. I'd rather too many than not enough.
Yeah, but you don't want one just outside the door. I'm just saying, the door's opening for starters.
Yeah, well, we'll have to look again exactly where it is.
Mrs. Seeds, you got a hello from Kathy.
I did. I gave her a kiss.
Hey, VMAC, I don't know what time it is there. I'm guessing it's like nearly 7 o'clock where Steve is, I'm guessing. where VMAC is, it's still 1956. Oh, I'm only kidding, VMAC.
He loves you, V-Mac.
I like you. Don't push the luck.
He loves you.
Mm-mm. Mm. Mm. 8:30. You're East Coast then, aren't you? What is it here?
I don't know.
7:30?
Yep. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. 7:30.
Yeah, you're on daylight saving time. 6:30. Where was this? What I thought? Just about ready to go to work, I imagine.
Oh, I better turn my sound off. They're probably getting an echo.
So
Sorry.
you're not old by any means, Steve, but you must be looking forward in the future to maybe retiring. What are you thinking? 5, 10 years? You can always do a bit of work when you retire. You don't have to stop completely. Just the cushy numbers, you know, the ones that make the big money for very little elbow grease. I reckon you'll end up selling and buying cars myself, fixing them up. I saw a bit of that hangout, VMAC, and I think you're talking about Uncle Bob, who's been tailgating him for years.
I did hear in voice chat. That
Getting
was
too old.
That was through Pal Talk, I think, V-Mac.
No.
There was a
No, this is a separate chat years ago.
But he was also
Yeah,
in Pal
no,
Talk.
yeah, he is, but this is a separate chat years ago. But you can only burn so many bridges, and I was telling Steve when I first opened the hangout, today I witnessed in 2 little tail endings of videos. Danny G, hello. Okay, hello and goodbye. But he got a little bit upset apparently, because Uncle Bob was wanted to say, "Come over, I'll help you." And while that was happening, we all know that his father figure in Canada has disowned him. More than that, though, g'day Mel, he's apparently stopped his allowance. I don't know. And the very last bit today, I got a message to go and look at a hangout, and I caught sort of the tail end of that, where his surrogate mother is apparently no longer going to breastfeed him. Nah, I'm not so sure about that. But yeah, so I can't stay in there for hours watching that nonsense. You don't need to be in there long.
Yeah, it is shit weather, Mel.
Cash
Simply.
prizes. Actually, they weren't cash prizes. They were just 14 tins of soup, hammers. But I think the postage to Canada for 14 tins of soup from Australia is about 450 Canadian dollars. Mind you, it is Australian soup. Yes, I reneged on eating tin soup for a week because I just
Awesome
don't want to do it.
woke him up. Awesome was going to do the challenge with you.
No, it was mainly the sodium content, and I think that was Jag Girl. She reminded me, and I looked in the tin, I'm thinking, she's right. Yeah, Waffles doesn't miss too much.
Well, we'll have to have a copy.
But we'll be in Canada in about 11 months, and we'll bring a tin of soup to whoever wants one. There you go. I do enjoy soup, but I enjoy the process of making it. And tomorrow you're gonna, if you're interested at all, this is my most famous recipe for soup. It's pea and ham. Smoked ham hock, boiled for a couple of hours till it goes all gelatinous, like the guy in the van. Then you take all the meat out, leave the bone in, add a few cups of yellow split peas. Bob's your uncle. Well, Bob could have been his uncle tonight, apparently, but didn't decide to visit
What would
him.
we do without Blue? Huh?
Hey, true blue. Na 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 na. Oh, you'll
yeah,
love this
mate.
one. I've actually got a video I did years ago, and I think it's got thousands of views. People love it. They just love the pea and ham soup. I think that's mainly all the Europeans that watch that one, but it's just a simple recipe from my great-great-great-grandmother. Gotta come to the Rockies. We're going to spend time in Canada, that's for sure. We're probably going to stop in 2 or 3 places in the US. Texas will probably definitely be one of them.
Salem.
She wants to go to witch country. Chase down a few witches.
Scarborough isn't that big. If Bob wants
No,
to find
I mean,
well, oh yeah.
poor old Macaulay Culkin, you know, the boy in the van. He doesn't travel far when he goes somewhere. He'll go to one spot and just go around in circles. Show you the same shop, 3 days in a row, 8 days wearing the same shirt, 9 days later it's the same damn shop. He sort of travels 1,000 miles and then just goes around in circles like a fly with one wing missing. I think that's called RVing. I think it's called loitering, actually. Boyter was which country? Bob's me son. Yes, I think, yeah, the running man is running out. I called Uncle Norm the Undertaker about 3 months ago because he was always going to end him, and it's happened.
Well, to a point.
No, I think he's just up and down the one street. You can smell a shawarma down one end and a falafel down the other, and in between it's a vortex, you can't get out. Yes, very ingenuous in his way of... It's a miserable life. It would have to be one of the most pitiful lives of anyone I've ever known. I mean, you think how you're living, can't sleep until the sun comes up because you're too frightened like a 12-year-old boy that someone's going to get you, so you stay awake all night and you sleep all day, and then of course then you're awake all night. Yeah, that was an easy one to pick too, yeah. Norm was in it for a little bit of accolades. Look at me. They picked the wrong target, I'm afraid. Far more deserving people would have been far more grateful. Anyway, that'll unfold. G'day, JP. Johnny P is a transgender.
Oh, stop it.
He's trying to be a man. I'm only kidding. You big girl. Good bloke, JP. And he's starting to do a few videos. JP, when you're down Walking Street next time you're in Phuket, I'll give you a few dollars on your super chat. You can go and do the live broadcast of the ping pong girls. Yeah? And then you can go down to the girly end of town where there's no real girlies, but they look like girlies. Do a video down there. We'll be going back there, I don't know when we'll go. I'll go next week if it stays this cold, actually.
Oh, you could go do that. Go do your own live stream of the ping pong girls.
No, sorry. Don't know where they've been. No one will be able to visit him, I doubt. In fact, what happens in quarantine here, and I've seen it because I've been an ex-prison officer to quite a few people with dubious sort of things happening to them, and you go through a little shower area where you're sprayed with disinfectant. Seriously. Even the cuffs were sprayed. I didn't see what Johnny wrote then.
He's got old vids on his phone of Bangla Road.
Bangla Road. Actually, some good little markets, you know, virtually down the middle. I don't know if you've been to those markets. Actually, one of them was quite new, wasn't it? The ones that we went to the second time, that was quite new.
Yeah.
But the food's great. I love that, and so does Mrs. Loves their, what do they call them? The juices they make up?
Oh, the pineapple was my favourite.
Pineapple juices. Yeah, and even they would go through a sort of a quarantine. Sometimes you're asked, and I was, dressed in my uniform, looking real flash, and they stick this green thing all over me after they sprayed me. It's contaminants. It's when your immune system's so low, And that's for a reason for Tucker at the moment, because if the immune system's low, there's less chance of rejecting a donor. That's what I've been told anyway. So, yeah, he'll have very little in the way of contact with the real world until he gets his new motor thrown in.
The banana pancakes.
Oh yeah, they're yum.
Love those, JP. Mm.
I haven't, but I don't have all that condensed milk and what's that? There's Nutella, isn't it? Basically, Nutella and dense milk over the top. I don't have that crap.
I just had the bananas and the...
Yeah, that's right, VMAC. But the pineapple juice that we've had there is just... Look, the fruit in Thailand just tastes sweeter. JP can back me up here. It's just bloody magnificent. VMAC, my grandson... I don't get to see these for long.
Kathy said her grandson's in the Navy there. Since they thought it'd be nice to visit. Yeah, it would have been nice, but he's not allowed any.
Hello, Scarlett.
Kathy, but that is a nice thought.
Yeah, it's just a waiting game. And he's in good spirits, which is always good. But if you do go to Thailand, nothing really happens till about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. They go through the motions, but all the tourists basically sleep because they're drunk from the night before.
Ask BMAC and Blue
What's
Waffles,
the latest
JP.
with Norm? I think Norm has not signed the adoption papers and he's cut off his allowance. Pretty harsh. Bit of hard loving going on there, I think. Yes, there's always plenty of shenanigans going on in YouTube, but you don't have to... I can seriously spend 3 minutes in a chat and look and listen and go away, and it's just repeat after that, so there's no point hanging around.
No, but sometimes it's fun. But we missed the action. At least Blue got it.
Oh, Blue's got everything. He's probably got all my videos back since 1937.
Since 1856. That's why I said, what would Boyd do without Blue?
I've had emails from people that tell me they have downloaded every cooking video I've ever done. I'm going, okay. And Rosie demanded respect from... Of course, that would mean that he will now change and be the loving person that Rosie has always wanted. It's not going to happen. It's going to be the same shit on a different day. Gerald Celente always said you can always predict the future on past events, and he's absolutely right. Nothing's going to change. This is what will happen. Maybe a little bit, I'm really sorry, I've been a bit of a pig-headed person and I really love you, and from now on we'll move forward in a positive mood.
We've had Duran.
And that'll be it.
We've had Duran fruit, JP.
Yeah,
it's
Duran.
yum.
Right.
Just do it, JP. You will love it.
It's the smell he's worried about.
Yeah, honestly, you get over that. It is nice.
Yes, if you put $5 on the pavement, he could be driving past it. Well, he can't drive past any more than 30 mile an hour, but he'd slam into the car next to him just to get out to get the $5. I've got a ticket to ride. I've got a ticket to ride. I don't care.
That was a Carpenter song, wasn't it?
Was it?
Yeah, I think so.
I've known them all my life. You see people that we call them bludgers here, or just people that will try and wheedle out anything from everybody, but they end up burning all these bridges, and they'll make a return visit and say, any chance of 10? And they say, no, you burnt your bridge last time. And they go, well, you're an evil person. God will strike you down for not helping the weak. Yeah. No. Everything has a lifespan. Everything has a beginning and an end. Cue in the mystical music now. And what that means is that you can mess around with so many people when eventually someone brings the hammer down. If this was a week of SmackDown wrestling, And you know that one where they all get into the ring, whatever that one's called. Well, poor old Macaulay Culkin from the greasy van, he got thrown out first.
What are you calling him?
He's like Macaulay Culkin, home alone. Out in the van, gone. 13 seconds. Took him 12 seconds to get up onto the ring. And then Battle Royal, that's it, Bucky, gone. And if he's looking around for someone to sign him up as a new surrogate father, good luck with that one. Mind you, he's got 3 or 4 other surrogate fathers. You could put the hammer down. How about $1,000 for your son?
I'm laughing at VMAC's comment.
What's she say?
She says, D-Dubs is a perv, Blue. Who's D-Dubs?
I don't know. But it's a hard day's night.
Oh, more song. That's another song.
It's been a hard day's night. I've been waffling like a king. What a miserable life, though. Peering out from behind the steering wheel, watching the rain come down,
Oh, okay, yeah, I know D-Dubs. Yep, I gotcha.
asking people for pennies. There might be some other, let's put it honestly, fool who steps up and starts giving money,
Of course they will.
but it'll be just repeat and rinse, same outcome in the end.
They'll do it purposely. Do you honestly think Norm's not giving you money?
So this guy DW is... I can see where some of this is going then. I read between lines. My mind's a little bit twisted that way.
What?
So this D-Dub guy is Rosie's new hang-around person. And sounds like a guy, D-Dub.
Yeah, I know.
So it means that maybe there's a bit of jealousy from the stepson.
Oh, of course.
I haven't even watched it, but I mean, am I reading between the lines correctly? A little bit of jealousy going on there, maybe? Yeah, you can see VMAC's office. There'll be like, you know, one screen up there with this on,
Headphones
another
in.
screen up there with solitaire, another screen there and there with dog fart. No, I'm only kidding. Probably Amazon, eBay, and then she can just panic button. Up comes this data sheet. Boss walks by. Morning. Yeah, flat out here, mate. Yep. Just, I'll be an hour or two. Yep. I don't know how he's surviving in Canada because Canadians are a bit like us. There's no doubt in my mind, if he, it won't happen, but if he ever came to Australia, he'd just get pulled out of the van every day and beaten the shit out of. Because people do that here, if you're a total dick. 2 different computers going. Ah, all right. I used to say one thing to the people that ever worked for me, and this is the truth. I don't care what you do during the day as long as the job gets done. I don't care. If they're, you know, skiving a couple of hours doing nothing, but they're really good at catching up and finishing their day's work, I don't have a problem with that. It's hard in the Muslim community. He wouldn't survive here, JP. Can you just imagine an Aussie walking past the van and he's waffling on? They'd just rip him out, slap him, or probably get their daughter to slap him, and then throw him back in the van. And we'd probably get it towed quite quickly. There's no way you could go anywhere in Australia and just park his van and sleep in the suburbs. They'd nab him. That's how I've always been, VMAC. If you get the job done, it doesn't matter. I always like to finish ahead of time, that's just me. But I passed up and stored on. I had truck drivers that were pretty slow in the morning, but they catch up by the end of the day. I didn't care. Job just needs to be done. And I always put faith in them. G'day, blood. If you've got people who you respect and you just say, look, just get the job done, mate. I don't care how you do it. Just do it ethically and you'll be fine. No, Coates, I reckon Coates is a good young bloke. Gets a bit fiery every now and then, but I'd sit round and have a beer with Coates any day. Start at 5am, have afternoons free. That's always a good thing. I'm a morning person. I used to get up really early and load the trucks up for the boys. And then I'd drop the kids off at school, do my paperwork, go and do a bit of sales, come home, get the deliveries into the warehouse, blah, blah, blah. And all good. So you fell out of your wheelchair, Kathy, and you cracked your tailbone. Well, you're probably going to need another wheelchair with a big soft ring in it. You know those little donut things you've got to sit on? Not good. Plenty of people have got problems. That's you give them. Oh, Nicole said, do you want to just time her out?
No.
Just time her out for a second.
Stop it.
Too late, she's running. She's gone. She doesn't trust you. She whipped in and whipped out real quick, knowing that you're ready to get that raindrop on the iPhone.
Oh, stop it.
Bit of rain's coming in, it's warming up a little bit. It's only -40.
Where's Nicole running off to?
I don't know, she's always running between here and betwixt. So busy. I think she runs a massive company. She's CEO and she's got to be dashing left and right. Over here, over there. Brussels. Moscow.
Hey,
New York. It's the big Aussie shooter. G'day, mate. How are ya? It's painful, but they gave me more drugs. I know a mate of mine damaged his coccyx. You know what I'm talking? Coccyx, which is the little bone. If we had a tail like a monkey, that's where the last bone on your ass is. He damaged that by sitting down where he thought it was going to be clear. And what it was, you know, a horse, like a carpenter uses a wooden horse to cut. He sat down right on the end, right on the end bit, and he just went in agony. People didn't know what happened to him. He's writhing around the ground, and he broke his coccyx. And apparently, it's nasty. That little tailbone down the bottom, just above your ass. Just have a feel. Everyone now in the room, take your pants down. Have a feel for the bony bit at the very bottom of your spine. That's your coccyx. If they'd only have worn a bit of mace that Aussie Shooter could have made them around their ass, it wouldn't have happened. So who's betting that there'll be an apology video from Macaulay Culkin in the van, you know, the greasy Macaulay, saying I'm sorry, so sorry. I won't do it again. I'm going to be a good boy from now on. I'm going to eat my lunch, clean up, shower every day, and not wear the same shirt for a month. You'll see the change in me, and Mother, you'll love me again. Or the alternative video. I don't need anybody. I don't need any of you. I can survive by myself. I'm actually backing that video. I think I'm backing that video. You know the old story about idiots in war, usually they'll say things like, the best form of defence is attack. They're usually the dead bodies on the battlefield. So I'm figuring the second alternative video will be coming out full-on attack. Could be wrong, could be the I'm really sorry video, but I'm putting that in the bookies around about 50 to 1. But the attack video, I'm reckoning it's like 6 to 4 on favourite. Why? Because it's the nature of the beast. When a wounded beast is cornered, it doesn't cower, it strikes out.
That's very deep.
That's true. Very true. I mean, let's look what he's lost in the week. He's lost his allowance. There's no more money coming in. Yes, I'm with you, Hamid. That's exactly what I think. He's lost his allowance. His surrogate father didn't sign the adoption papers, and his surrogate mother's thinking about putting him out for adoption. It's not been a good week. Money's dried up. And of course then the millions of trolls, millions, because he's an international superstar. Of course, when you've got 6,000 subscriptions, that makes you an international. I figured it out. On YouTube, there are 4 billion international celebrities that have got, 6,000 subscribers or more. So they're everywhere.
So, we're not. Oh, damn.
Oh, I've only got about 1.5.
We're not celebrities.
Nah,
I've been telling everyone.
I'm in the gutter.
I've been telling everyone we are. Damn.
No. Oh, there could be a little flip, VMAC, but I don't think it'll be anything like.
Of course he's going to keep giving. If it's not under his name, there'll be another name, whatever.
I think the well's run dry on the south.
No, he's going to keep trying whatever he wants to try.
If you put me in a van for a month, I'd be different. Of course, I would be cooking my own food. Let's say I didn't cook my own food. I'd still be okay for about 20 bucks a day, if you know what I mean. And I'm probably going to use 15 in gas. Yeah, you'd need 40, 50 bucks a day just to get by. So 1,500. That's not living the high life at all. Well, that's what it would be here anyway. Laundromat every week. Yes, I'd have 7 pairs of undies, t-shirts, etc., etc.
You can wear one pair of undies 5 days, inside out, outside in, reverse.
Okay. Oh, I don't know. I'm not sure how it works. Someone said once told me it's the 21st of each month. So that's still coming, isn't it? But I've always said it. Money's not the issue. Doesn't matter how much money that you throw at a problem, all you have is a problem with money. So until you solve the core root of the problem, whether there is no money or there is money, you still have the core root of the problem. An arsehole. So it's not looking good. If you're reading a book about the bottom of YouTube, you'll be coming to the last few pages of the last chapter, The Death of a Salesman. Great little movie, that, and show, by the way. It's on Broadway still, I think. But you can only, what's the old saying? Oh, that's right, you can only fool some of the people some of the time. But you cannot fool all of the people all of the time. And our little circle down the bottom of YouTube it's finite. There's a big spider on the wall there, see that? I think she's trying to get out, I'll lock her in. No one does that, VMAC. That would just be sensationalism. The bottom line is you don't run any border. If you've got the right paperwork, you go there with confidence. Or is it just me? Would I travel, to another country and then figure, I'm supposed to have a visa to get in and I don't bother about the visa? They're going to turn me around on the next plane and say, see ya, have a nice trip back to Australia. That's how it works. So it's either a little bit of showmanship coming up, VMAC, or it's not true, or it is just stupidity. There's no way I would go to a border without the correct paperwork. You'd be stupid. You'd be called stupid for doing something like that, wouldn't you? I don't need a visa to come to the US, and I certainly don't need one to go to Canada. Jasper National Park. Sorry, mate, I missed half that. Could be, yeah, could be doing that. No, you don't do things like that. Even if you're only travelling a few hundred miles, you don't mess around with another country and the entrance requirements. That's just plain stupid. Unless it's a gimmick, like VMAC just said. Maybe it's just a little bit of a game and all the paperwork's in order. But you can't do that. I can go to every Commonwealth country like JP can, and we just walk in and there's no problem. Vietnam, I needed to get a visa. In China, you need a visa. Don't need any visa going to any European country at all. Johnny F&P. That's a good nickname. Just call him F&P from now on. Nah, JP's all right. But yeah, I don't know why you'd even pretend that that was a problem. I mean, I don't know what it would cost to drive from California to the border, but I'm sure it's not free. Maybe it's just a game, like VMAX says. Could be. Has that happened in the past? Yeah. Lots of little games have been played, just for views. Yeah, it keeps you out under certain sections of the law, but they can be circumnavigated through, first of all, time and recommendations from the government. And if you're under parole, you're never going to leave the country. But if you're out of parole, your behaviour is good, you need to apply to any particular Ministry of Justice for a clearance, because it's their orders that keep you grounded. But yeah, no, you can. It's not circumnavigating, it's just following procedure. And they can say yes or no. But there are certain crimes you can't. Most crimes of heinous factor, whether you've served time and been a good boy, you're not going to another country. It's not happening. It's an international agreement, actually, that does not allow them to hold a passport. Yeah, we had that conversation about 6 months ago, I think, or even more. You just got to talk to them, mate. If it's no, it's no. But unless you ask, you'll never know. Yeah. Could be GBA. Uncle Bob might be reaffirming behavioural practices. Yes. I have no doubt that would be the case. It depends if it's been written off. There's a statute for that. The one way to get out of that statute is to go into bankruptcy. Not a problem. I think it's 3 years in Australia. If you're bankrupt and all things are written off, two things are never written off. Tax, if you owe tax. I'm not sure about criminal compensation. There can be an agreement met. As long as you're meeting that agreement, it could be a different story. Well, yeah, it's not a criminal offence not to pay compensation, but it certainly eventually will be garnished from some form of payment you'll be getting. That's how they eventually go down the track. Yeah, no, you've got to wait 3 years after you go bankrupt. You're not allowed to hold a passport for 3 years. Yeah, the Commonwealth has a pretty strict, anything to do with violence, rape, murder. Obviously you're not going for murder or rape. But I don't know, maybe a very large piece of balsa wood, Aussie, to strap yourself to it and get the prevailing currents. Float your way to California. Yeah, no, you need to approach the ministry in regards to what can I or can't I apply for to do. You don't pay taxes in Australia, it doesn't ever go away, whether you're bankrupt or not. It's the one thing that you can't get out of. Death and taxes, as they say. But laws change, things about requirements change. The other alternative for you, Aussie, and I've been thinking about this for a while, is for you not to go to the United States, but for some lady from the United States to come to you. Just a thought. Or maybe one a week. You know, have a little rotation roster going. One from Texas, Louisiana, New York. Just make sure dates don't clash. Yeah, that's not going to help belt and coppers. They're just blokes that chuck on a uniform, and some are arseholes and some are not. I've beat a couple of prison officers up in my time, trust me, because they're arseholes. It was for their betterment. Their behavioural changed. Just fly them. Well, don't you pay for the ticket, mate. Just smooth talk your way saying, well, if you can afford a ticket, I've got a bunk bed for you to jump into, or my bed. It's up to you. When they get there, they say, "Where's the bunk bed?" You say, "I had to sell it to buy a TV." But it's still my bed. Yeah, Link Knight. Good bloke, Link, but he's funny. Evening, viewers. Yeah, hang on, I'll do the proper video. There we go. Anyway, I'm going to start a dating site of my own. There were lots of blokes in Australia who'd like to meet a nice, lovely lady. Aussie Shooter's one of my first customers. And a bloke called Bergs, I'm going to sign him up. It's only $1,000 a month. If the lighting's too bright, let me know. I don't want to push the, LEDs too much. Got to be conservative on fuel and lighting and solar power. See you, mate. See you, mate. Just popped in for a quick chat. The light gets to him, so I had to lower the lighting effect. You know what I mean. I think Link's all right. He was born about 40 years too late. He'd be perfect for about 1955. He's funny. Some of the things that he's done in the past, seriously. The best one I remember, because he always talks about things that he does and whatever. And he did this one little speech about rabbit hunting. All right, set the scenario. Let me get the lighting effect correct. Anyway, viewers, I've got to tell you something which is pretty sensational. Now, I'm serious. Now listen up. I am a professional rabbit hunter. I can catch rabbits on foot by hand. Now when he said that in the video, I literally just pissed myself like this big gangly Aussie running through the field, grabbing a rabbit, catching it by hand. Gotcha, you little bugger. Pissed myself laughing for about 20 minutes. I can catch rabbits by foot. No, on hand by foot. That was funny. That was really funny. Try to catch up with him as we're coming down the coast, but he didn't want to, which is fine.
We'll go to Melbourne again and we'll catch up with him and Vinny.
Oh, some of those shirts he sewed up. And he went through that phase of...
Oh, the dresses he made.
Dresses, and of course I've got all these Singer sewing machines. I've got 60 of them now. What I've decided to do with the Singer sewing machines, put them on top of each other. There's a whole wall of Singer sewing machines.
And then what does he say? Then he says, and I'll go down to the church to see if I can get some of the local church girls to try my dresses on.
Come back to my place and all this clothing I've made, some nice little black skirts if you want to come and try them.
No, rabbits were brought over. Rabbits aren't native to Australia.
No, nor foxes.
They were brought over, nor
They were brought over for the rich bastards that got here, who wanted to go hunting rabbits with and the foxes, the fox hunters. That's how we got rabbits in Australia. Now we've got 45 billion of them.
The foxes are so blazing, they just come into suburbia and just jump fences and come in your backyard. Like that night at the back of Ingrid's.
Yeah, no, we've seen foxes in the suburbs a lot. And they usually snavel cats. When the cats aren't looking, the old fox will go, "Oh, thank you." Or little dogs. But yeah, like I say, Link's a good bloke. He's just born too late. 1955 would have been a perfect year for Link. Used to have an old show on the radio called Dad and Dave, and he would fit the bill, being in that era. Hey, Dad, have you seen them sheep up the top paddock? One of them's looking at me funny. Don't worry about it, Link. He's got attitude, that sheep, and he's going on the bloody barbecue tonight. Yeah, roos don't really care about much. Most roos, because there's so many of them. Some are a little bit timid, but you could walk through the bush, you see hundreds of them. You don't want to get in your way of a big red brew though. Geez, you don't want to muck around with that. They're bigger than me. They probably weigh 100 kilo. And with their back claw, they could cut you down the middle. Very little spoken about kangaroos and how aggressive they can be, particularly during humping season. JP gets a bit like that.
What?
Humping season. His wife's got to tie him and chain him down. They're everywhere, particularly in our state, Aussie. I used to go out with a bloke up near Northampton and out that way, and he had a licence for 50,000 head, and he used to make good money, but he made more money out of skinning them. But there was too many. You just can't skin 400 roos in a night. You know what I mean?
The beginning of that sentence didn't make any sense.
I can't understand what you're saying.
The beginning of your sentence didn't make any sense. I used to go out with a bloke.
Well, I used to go out with a bloke,
The way you said it, it's coming
and he'd
out
show
right.
me his weapon and he'd use it. 762. Kangaroo, 762. All over. Usually a shot in the shoulder area, because it just finishes them off. No, I don't think Aussie's too far from me. I think he'd be an hour and a bit, tops. We'll catch up one day. Hello, Laura. We're going to have a counter meal somewhere. I'm not buying you a fucking steak though, Aussie. What do you think? I'm a millionaire? Fish and chips sounds good to me, mate. Aussies prefer just to, you know, chuck on a barbie, have a couple of beers. There's not a big hullabaloo made of it. Oh, mate, that's fantastic. You're going to bring the joints. I wouldn't mind a couple of shoulder lamb joints and maybe a hind quarter of a pig. If you can organise that, that'd be great. On you, mate. But yeah, we just seem to catch up, have a beer, have a laugh, and that's it. You don't have to get dressed up. You can keep the thongs on. And Aussie thongs are worn on our feet, by the way. But that's how we do it. We don't, there's no like, oh, I've got to go to the hairdresser. I've got to shave my beard and put a suit. That's not going to happen in Australia. You know, so many people I've met who go out of their way to get dressed up, and I'm wearing shorts, thongs and a t-shirt. It's like, I don't care. And I'm thinking, you went to a bit of trouble there, mate. You're going to a wedding or something.
Yeah, like when JP met us. He got dressed up, didn't he?
JP wore underwear, jeans, t-shirt. He'd actually done one half of his hair. Nice. That's it. Yeah, he wore a checkered blue and white flannel with two little lines through the checker. I've got a photographic memory, JP. It's not a blessing at all. Sunglasses, mobile phone, daggy phone holder, but still I've got a daggy phone holder. I didn't hold that against JP. And he bought lunch.
JP had a better phone than us.
Yeah, he did. He had a better phone. It's a curse having a photographic memory. It really is, trust me. It's like, you know, when you guys would walk into someone's place and you smell something and that brings back memories of something. Someone's only got to say a word or something and I go, yeah, okay. Not good. It's not a blessing you want, trust me. Oh, there's definitely plenty of land that no one stood on here, hammers. Plenty. Actually, one thing our country's really good at, and I know Canada does the same thing. If you ever come to the city of Perth, for example, there's trees everywhere. And I mean everywhere. There's parks everywhere. It's not like a Central Park in New York and there's your... No, we do it everywhere here. We've got laws that says there's got to be X amount of parkland for X amount of people. That's how it works. Yeah, Sid, and she would tell you the same thing. It's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, you've got a good memory, but sometimes there are things that you don't remember.
Or maybe through convenience.
Yeah, it's called domestic memory loss.
Yeah, that's just how it goes. But getting back to Days of Our Lives on the bottom of YouTube, I think that theme song will be playing shortly. Another one bites the dust, and another one bites the dust. and another one's gone, and another one's gone, and another fat squeaky pig's bit the dust. It's the slowest fall from grace I think I've ever seen. Yeah, no, your wife's phoned me a few times, and I've told her she shouldn't, but I said, that's okay, don't worry about it. She says, oh, okay.
I don't you hate it when you go through all your kids' names or your grandkids' names before you get to the one you want. You've even done that.
Yeah, you usually, it's one of those things, memory is based on importance. And I'll give you a great example. All of you would have had an injury of some stage in your life. Broken leg, hit by a car, whatever that is. You will remember part of the time before that incident and part of the time after, quite a bit actually, but they're embedded in your brain. There's nothing you can do about that. That's where trauma comes into. Post-traumatic stress comes into. Other words, they're things that our brain does not eliminate, and there's only one reason it doesn't take them away. It wants you to stop making the same mistake the next time. That's why it happens. That's why you remember. G'day, Sean. So it's called a memory of defense. Traumatic as whatever it was, you won't do the same. You'll still stuff up. Trust me, there'll just be different stuff ups. But that particular thing, like I did get hit by a car when I was about 8, and I went under the car and awful things happened. But I've never been run over since. Why? Because I'm looking at the bloody cars. I look left and right 16 times. Then I cross the road. But trauma or injury, you remember quite clearly because it's your body and mind's defense mechanism not to make that same mistake again. There's no mystery in it. Hypervigilant, very good, Bucky. Excellent. But it's true. That's why we remember some of the unpleasant things, not just because they were unpleasant. You want to either avoid the circumstances where something happened, or an event where something happened, or somebody. What I mean by that is if there's some arsehole in your life that's always caused you grief, eventually you say, enough is enough, and you don't have any contact. That's your defense mechanism. You want to survive. So all those bad memories sometimes are there for a reason. They're not good memories, of course, but they're there to remind you not to make the same mistake twice. But like I say, there's categorically no problem. You will keep making different mistakes for the rest of your life. I accidentally stabbed a guy I worked with. Well, as long as it was accidental. But again, if that was true, it was very traumatic. For 2 years, I flinched every time. Yep. There are things you won't forget. And it's usually whether it was, and this is the category that Sean just put it, whether it was an accident or whether it was intent on someone or you in reverse. You don't forget those things you did to other people either. Because if they've not been good, you tend to remember that and not do it again. But like I say, rest assured, don't panic. You're all going to fuck up at another stage over different things you never thought of. It just happens. It's funny, you know, when I don't do it now, but when you're a young bloke, you sit around a fire with the boys having a few beers. JP, look at this scar here. See that scar here? I was hit by a rogue elephant, broke 3 bones in my arm. By the end of the night, someone's telling the story about I was abducted by aliens, but before that happened, a rhino went right up my ass. And before that, I was bitten by a croc, but luckily the croc dragged me away from the teeth of a shark. After a few beers,
Yep.
it gets a little bit big.
Tall tails, like the fish that's that big.
We often see young blokes, yeah, I got a cut here. See that cut there? Yeah. Attacked by 9 men from Navy SEALs. They attacked me. Thought I was a SEAL. But it's funny as hell. As you get older, you listen to young blokes talking and thinking, oh, right, yeah, we've all done that. Then after they finish, I'll just open up my shirt and say, call that a scar? This is a scar.
I will believe you, Hamid.
I didn't see what Hammer said.
He said it's true talk. I can make a YouTube video of the scar.
Oh yeah, no, I'd
You could make one too when you got stabbed.
make 5 hours.
No, and I wasn't the one who stabbed him, by the way.
It was her.
It was very back. No.
Yeah, shit happens. But every scar has a story. Usually, most of the scars are self-inflicted. Let's be honest. Those crazy things you do, you pick up something, you open your hand up, Jesus! You can't blame anyone. Most of the scars on most people are self-inflicted through stupidity. You didn't look what you were doing. Most amazing thing I ever saw on a building site is they had broken a panel of about 2 foot by 2 foot and a window section of about 15 feet long, a really big window. And they were taking this broken bit out, right? And there was a guy that was just walking underneath at the time when the guy slipped and the whole window, it was only sort of cracked, and it was that laminate, so it had, you know, wasn't falling apart. The guy below, just through instincts, caught it. And not a scratch on him. Just absolutely amazing, even though it was like that glass that will only slice you up a bit. It's about 15 feet, he just caught the bloody thing. Instincts in people.
No, that wouldn't have been very nice, Hamid.
What's
I
that?
would not getting shot. I can imagine. No, I can't even imagine what that'd be like. I wouldn't want to imagine it actually. The pain.
Well, I
I
know
suppose.
2 people that had been shot, and they said it was like getting punched. One guy got shot in the shoulder, one guy shot in the thigh, and they both said it felt like someone had got a 7-pound sledgehammer and just whacked them. It wasn't like, they said it didn't feel like a little impact, it felt like a massive impact. His name was Mac Hardy. Sounds like a whiskey. But we do have all those things that happen to us in life, good and bad. The good bits get remembered as well. I'm not putting a downer on all the scars and incidents. And you do remember the good things. The perfect girl you went out with, the perfect night you went fishing, the brand new car you bought, etc., 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 the birth of your children. All these good things you remember as well. But they're rewarding memories, whereas the ones that you remember because there was a bit of injury, harm or whatever, you really keep them for one reason, that's to protect you from doing it again. It doesn't always work.
I know what you mean, Kathy. The rain does sound nice.
It's raining. Raining on my home.
Raindrops keep falling on my head. That's why I can't remember the rest of the song. Ella's not here.
Yeah, but if I do this, she'll come.
She's got undies on. Look,
I got my little leotards on, Gday.
she's got leggings on.
Leggings, yeah. Check out my ass. Steady rain.
Now Sean and Deb are at it.
Not accepting broken delivery. Where's Nicole when you need her? She did dash in to say goodbye. It's like a nurse waking me up when I was in hospital. Thing going on. So let me see if I can do the live chat. Click that on. Can anyone hear me? I don't think anyone's here. I think I'm in a ghost room.